In 1998, I remember starting my political career as a freshman senator in the 11th Congress of the Philippines. I was ranked first, garnering over half the total votes, the youngest senator, and one of only 2 women senators that time. Perhaps a very green senator, but I wasn't hurled accidentally into the position. I certainly worked hard for it. I was anxious, at the same time very excited to do the work I believe I was born to do. And I've always been deeply motivated. I wanted to be a public servant leader who will strive to do relevant and meaningful work. And so even then, I've always been focused on certain issues that I'm passionate about. I was chairperson for committees on environment and economic affairs. Before I turned 40, I found myself being named as one of the global leaders for tomorrow in the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Then, the United Nations Environment Program Award in Turin, Italy in 2001. All the while offering legislation benefiting women and children's rights, including the Anti-Domestic Violence Act, Anti-Child Labor Law, the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act. I also sponsored into law the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act and most of the environmental laws. And by 2001, I was voted Senate Majority Floor Leader, the first and only woman to occupy such post. I continued my work as legislator and ran another term, and I was once again proclaimed #1 senator in the 2007 senatorial elections, garnering the most number of votes and holding the distinction of being the only woman senator to top the Senate race twice. More work, more laws, more advocacies. And in this 14th Congress, I was again chairperson of the following committees. But as the expression goes, there is no rest for the weary. For the next 12 years, I continued the work as senator in the 15th, 16th, and 17th Congresses of the Philippines, still advancing my passion and advocacies and chairing the committees on climate change, foreign relations, finance, and even cultural communities. I'm extremely proud of the tangible achievements that I've made as senator. But beyond the laws and the bills, I've managed to tirelessly work on my advocacies. In 2009, we passed into law the landmark Philippine Climate Change Act, of which I was principal author and sponsor. In June that same year, I delivered the keynote speech at the Forum on the Human Impact of Climate Change in Geneva, reiterating the need for a new brand of politics and governance to address the growing climate disaster risks. And there I introduced the Legarda doctrine, a new development thinking and a more holistic development philosophy founded on sustainable and equitable socio-economic ecosystems and governance. By December of the same year, I also spoke on climate change legislation at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Copenhagen, Denmark, calling on parliamentarians to initiate legislation to address climate change issues. I've also been a longtime advocate of preserving our national identity and culture and the ancestry of indigenous peoples. I've been bestowed the following titles by various indigenous peoples groups. I was also the prime architect and main driving force behind the country's return to the prestigious Venice Biennale, the Olympics of the contemporary art world, all after 51 years of absence. Amidst all these, I continue my work and dedication to public service. My cup overflows, and I'm equally humbled and overwhelmed. I'm immensely grateful to all those who have helped me through these years. I remember the faces of people who acknowledged me, trusted me, gave me full support. I will be forever thankful. But more than all the chairmanships that I have led, more than the laws and the bills that I have helped legislate, and even more important than the recognition, the accolades and the awards, I am extremely proud of the people I've been able to help. The children, the women, the families and communities, the indigenous peoples, the farmers, fisher folks, the so-called last, least, and the lost. I am inspired by them. I am motivated, encouraged, and moved by them. And I continue to have them in my mind and in my heart as I proceed with my life work as public servant leader. I am yours humbly, Loren Legarda.
My harvest. Sa newspaper at magazines. Share our knowledge, koneksyon sa klima at sa pagbabasa. The stories of the everyday person who know better than us.
I feel you in the wind, I see you in the trees. Everywhere I look, I feel your heartbeat. Majestic mountains high, in every drop of rain. All of this just shows me how much you love me. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your constant care for me. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your endless grace for me. In every drop of dew, the rustling of the leaves, the chirping of the birds, a perfect symphony. Smell of the flowers, the richness of the soil, the sweetness of the fruit that satisfies. I am amazed by the symphony of your creation. I am amazed by your omnipresence. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your endless grace for me. From a firefly to a shooting star, to the song a cricket sings, from the raging seas to the placid lakes, to the bubbling of the stream, from the rays I feel from the rising sun to the stillness of the night. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your constant love for me. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty. I am amazed by your beauty and your bounty.
Morning. Welcome to Stories for a Better Normal, Pandemic and Climate Pathways. This is our 60th episode in this pandemic. Kumusta po kayong lahat? I hope all of you are well, healthy, and safe and staying at home, especially during this surge. Kung ngayon lang po kayo nakasali sa Stories for a Better Normal, inaanyayahan po kayong tuloy-tuloy kaming subaybayan dahil linggo-linggo may pinapakita po kaming paraan ng pamumuhay na mas bagay sa pag-alsa natin mula sa climate change at saka sa pandemic. Nagsimula po kami noong May 2020 during the general community quarantine bilang paraan na makaabot sa mga tao na nasa bahay lang. Sa bawat episode, pinahahalagahan namin at ikinukwento kung papaano ang mga tao mula sa iba't ibang lupalop ng Pilipinas ay yumayakap sa isang uri ng pamumuhay na mas bagay sa bagong panahon. Ano po ang ibig sabihin natin ito? Yung pinag-iisipang gawain sa pang-araw-araw, kung anong kinakain, kung anong isinusuot, kung anong binibili, kung saan pumupunta at ang ating nagiging yabag sa daigdig na to, our carbon footprint and our ecological footprint. We talk about aiming to become carbon neutral, trying to achieve zero waste, and promoting a circular economy. And we try to reach as many communities that do this as possible. Ang dami-dami na po natin, hindi nyo palang nare-realize na madami tayong kabagang na ganyan ang ginagawang uri ng pamumuhay. We talk about ecological waste management, waste segregation, composting of food waste, recycling of other waste products, saving seeds, planting native trees, saving indigenous plants, backyard gardening, cultivating edible gardens, food security, food for all, food forests, taking care of our sources of food, greening our food supply chain. Natural resources, land, sea, marine ecosystems, biodiversity, you have it. Dito po natin yan pag-uusapan linggo-linggo. Climate change, adaptation and mitigation, human health, mental, physical, and spiritual wellness, and changing our lifestyles to one that is in harmony with nature. This talk show explains also House Bill 6864, Better Normal for the Workplace, Communities, and Public Spaces Act of 2020. This seeks to establish safety measures and protocols in this new normal. Many of us are already feeling COVID fatigue after more than a year in quarantine. Pero kailangan lang po magpatuloy, magpursige, magtulungan para makapunta po tayo sa isang lugar at isang uri ng pamumuhay na mas mabuti kaysa sa dating nating iniwan. Natutuwa po kaming makasama kayo linggo-linggo. Partner po namin ng Climate Change Commission, Department of Education, PIA, ICSC, Climate Reality Project Philippines at Mother Earth Foundation. Course, please follow us on Facebook, like, comment below, and share. This month of September, malapit na po tayo sa Pasko, is declared the National Cleanup Month, and the third Saturday of September, which is September 18, is the National Cleanup Day. Sana po araw-araw ang clean up, no? Pero for our first episode of this month, we are calling on everyone, young and old. Let us declutter our homes. Pero hindi po puro landfill ang bagsak sana. Clean our surroundings and protect the environment. Isa ho ang basura na dapat ay atin na pong iniiwasan ay mga single-use plastic. At kung ano man po ang naiwan natin na parang wala nang pakinabang, hanapan po natin ng pakinabang dahil may mga tao nga na naglalapat ng disenyo at arte dyan sa mga patapon na at nabebenta pa nila ng mataas na halaga. No? Isa sa mga artists na kilala ko, yung mga lumang parte ng mga makina, no? Nilalagyan niya ng mga springs, tapos artwork, no? Ang plastic trash na ating ginagamit sa ating mga bahay, sa ating mga kondo, o sa ating mga opisina na itinatapon sa basurahan ay umaabot na po sa ating karagatan. Ang layo ng binabiyahe ng basura. Baka akala natin kung basta sa kalye ay hindi na yan aabot sa dagat, pero yan po ang silbi ng ating mga ilog para gawing daluyan ng lahat ng mga nutrients at saka ng mga basura na umaabot na rin sa ating karagatan o sa ating mga inland waters. Ang layo-layo ng binabiyahe, bumabara sa estero at lagusan ng tubig na siyang dahilan ng pagbaha, nakakalason sa mga isda at iba pang marine animals. Ang Pilipinas ay nakakaipon ng tinatayang 3 milyong tonelada, metric tons ng plastic waste taon-taon. Sa dagdag pa yan sa waste pollution, yung production ng generation ng plastic ay nagbibigay pa ng dagdag na greenhouse gases sa ating atmosphere at lalong pinaiinit ang planeta. Ang COVID-19 pandemic ay nagpalaki pa ng problema ng single-use plastics dahil kailangan magsuot ng mask at PPE para bumagsak ang contamination at pagkalat ng virus. Madaming nagpapadeliver ng food sa kanilang mga tahanan, kaya ang dami-daming dagdag na waste na hindi natin dati inaasahan nung dinisenyo natin ang ating mga landfills. Huwag na po tayong mag-intay ng pagkatapos ng pandemic bago tayo sumunod dun sa warning, alarm bells ng ating planeta. Nakikita natin ang epekto nito sa ating mga buhay at kabuhayan at sinasabi na ng mga eksperto sa agham na lalala pa ito. Kaya ngayong araw na ito, titingnan natin at pagtatrabahuhan natin ng mga local governments at private sector ang pagbabawas ng single-use plastics. Paano natin mababawasan ang polusyon sa ating pang-araw-araw na buhay? House Bill 9147 o ang Single-Use Plastic Products Regulation Act ay pumasa na sa third and final reading sa House of Representatives at inaasahan natin na dadating na yung bersyon ng Senado. Paano tayo maaapektuhan ng pagpasa ng batas na ito? Alamin natin ngayong umaga. Nandito kasama natin ngayong umaga si Engineer Teresa Quiogue, Supervising Environment Management Specialist ng Senro Parañaque City. Noong 2020, sa ilalim ng City Ordinance 1840, pinagbawal ng Parañaque ang single-use plastic sa lahat ng dry goods. Kasama na yung plastic bags, straws, spoons and forks, cups and stirrers, at iba pang mga gawa sa styrofoam gaya ng plates, cups, and bowls. Magandang umaga, Engineer Quiogue. Welcome to Stories for a Better Normal.
Magandang umaga po. Thank you very much po for the introduction, Attorney Ipat.
Yes, pero ipat na lang kung komportable kang tawagin ko na ipat, no? Deputy Speaker Legarda is still on the budget hearing, so I'm standing in for her right now. And
Yes po,
we expect her to be on the Zoom very soon after her interventions in the budget hearings. No? Ang susunod po nating guest ay si Vincent Alon, pinuno ng Solid Waste Management and Research Division ng Muntinlupa City. And I'd like to commend Muntinlupa City for having such a division in its organizational chart. Its Ordinance 10-109 prohibits the use of plastic bags on dry goods, regulates its use on wet goods, and prohibits the use of styrofoam in the whole city of Muntinlupa. Business establishments are prohibited from using plastic bags, styrofoam, styropor as packaging materials and containers for dry goods and food products. Likewise, the selling of plastic bags is also prohibited. Magandang umaga, Vincent, at sana meron kang ma-share na statistics ng pagbagsak ng gastos nyo sa inyong hauling ng basura ng residual waste dahil sa inyong ordinansa. Vincent?
Yes. Good morning, Attorney Ipat. Thank you for inviting Muntinlupa to share the initiative of Muntinlupa towards battling single-use plastic.
Maraming salamat, Vincent. Ang last name mo ay first name ng aking anak.
Yeah.
Ang susunod po nating speaker ay si Sar Herman, Chief Technology Officer ng Green Ants Builders Incorporated. Ay, dyan ako nagdadala ng aking clean plastic. Green Ants Builders provides building and housing solutions that integrate eco-friendly practices and green technologies in its products and services. They've partnered with the private sector and local governments to combat plastic pollution and reduce the wastes going to landfills through setting up a recycling facility that will process biodegradable waste to compost, and plastics to eco-bricks and pavers. Magandang umaga, Sar. Is that the right way to pronounce your name?
Yes, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, okay. I will now know that it will not be Filipino when I speak with you a little later. Next, we have Marilyn Guiliena, a climate reality leader and a member of the National Cleanup Day Coalition Philippines. Marilyn is a public school teacher at Concepcion National High School. Aside from teaching, she also actively takes part in different environmental activities held by the National Cleanup Day Coalition Philippines. 2019, nung nagsimula si Marilyn ng zero waste minimalism journey, and she began creating her own eco bricks. Then she organized Seed for Sapang Dalaga chapter in Mindanao to promote her advocacy. Good morning, Marilyn. Nakamute.
Good morning, Attorney Ipat. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome to Stories for a Better Normal, to our Facebook viewers, especially to our regular viewers and top fans. Please comment below. We will read your comments. Please give us substantive comments that we can chew on, no? Para tong mga guests natin ay ma-inspire naman. Na mga nanonood sa kanila ay hindi baguhan at yung mga baguhan man ay magtuloy-tuloy sa zero waste journey. Okay, let's start with Engineer Teresa Kyoge from the local government of Parañaque. May we have your presentation, please, Engineer?
Yes. Thank you very much for the introduction, Attorney Ipat. Isang makakalikasang araw po sa inyo at sa lahat ng ating viewers. I'm speaking on behalf of our City Mayor, Honorable Edwin L. Olivares, and our Department Head, Mr. Bernardo N. Amorao. Nagpapasalamat po kami sa Climate Change Commission at sa inyo po, Attorney Ipat, Ma'am Senator Loren Legarda, para sa ating oportunidad na ito na maibahagi ang aming best practices sa solid waste management. Next slide, please. Ang Parañaque City po ay may population na 731,793 noong 2019. Kami po ay bounded by Pasay City on the north, Taguig City on the northeast, Muntinlupa on the southeast, Las Piñas on the southwest, and Manila Bay on the west. Mayroon po kaming daily waste generation na 700 tons per day at ang daily waste generation per capita ay 1.065 kilogram per capita per day. Next slide, please. Ang Parañaque City po ay matatawag nating catch basin city. Meron po kaming 19 water bodies. Ang Parañaque River po ang aming major river prior to disposal or discharge to Manila Bay. At ang iba po ay 18 traverse kami ng 18 creeks pa po. We have Estero Tripa de Galina, Dangalo River, Liboho Creek, Wawa Creek, Sapang Buwaya, Kutkut Creek, Ibayo Creek, Paete Creek, Moonwall Merville Creek, Elon Creek, Balok Creek, Villanueva Creek, Pagsisihan Creek, Bugalsim Creek, Marulas Creek, at Masaligsig Creek. Next slide, please. Ang Parañaque City din po ay may mga environmental ordinances hango at based sa ating mga environmental laws. Yan po ang ating ordinance number 10-05. Ang ordinance adopting environmental management code of the City of Parañaque, ordinance number 12-03, ordinance establishing septage management in the City of Parañaque, Ordinance 1447, Ordinance enacting the City of Parañaque Vehicle Emission Control Code and providing penalties for violation and its implementing rules and regulation. We have Ordinance 13-34, Ordinance mandating all barangays in the City of Parañaque to include in their annual environmental programs the planting of endemic and indigenous trees in their territorial jurisdiction to promote ecological balance and appropriating funds. Ordinance number 19-06, Ordinance providing for a comprehensive water quality management and user fee system for the City of Parañaque. Next slide, please. Ordinance 17-11, Ordinance amending Ordinance 0418. otherwise known as Ordinance Prescribing the Sanitation Code for Parañaque, Ordinance 17-22, Ordinance Prohibiting the Littering and Dumping of Garbage Debris or any kind of waste in open or public places and providing penalties, Draft Ordinance 161, Building Eco-Friendly and Resilient Development of the Environment in the City of Parañaque, Draft Ordinance 100, Hazardous Waste and Toxic Waste Management in the City of Parañaque, and Ordinance 18-40, an ordinance regulating the use, provision, and sale of styrofoam, plastic bags, and plastic for prepared food and beverage containers, including plastic sauce and stirrers in the City of Parañaque. Next slide, please. Ang Parañaque City po ay may iba't ibang solid waste management programs, katulad po ng deployment of Bantay Kalikasan or Environmental Police, Centro Operations, City Materials Recovery Operations, Zero Plastic sa Landfill Project, Upcycling Livelihood Project, Plastic Ordinance Implementation, Orderly Mises or Materials Recovery System. Next slide, please. Ang Parañaque City po ay meron ding approved 10-year solid waste management plan. This was approved on 2015 and updated po noong 2018. At currently po, ina-update po siya ngayon kasama ng pag-conduct po ng bagong waste analysis and characterization study. Next slide, please. Ang result po ng aming 2015 waste analysis and characterization study, tatlong abundant top 3 po na waste ay biodegradable waste, 33%, plastics, 22%, papers, 20%, at iba pa po, special waste, 9%, glass, 3%, metals, 3%, other non-organic, 9%, at hazardous waste, 1%. Next slide, please. Sa ngayon po, nagkaroon po kami ng wax dry run para prior sa formal conduct of waste analysis and characterization study ngayong month of September 2021. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. We have efficient solid waste collection. Ang door-to-door collection po ng residual waste ay ginagawa ng ating isang private garbage hauler. We have RORO bins, tinatawag po namin RORO bins, roll-on, roll-off waste depository bins. Para sa inaccessible areas ng trucks, ito po ay nakalagay sa main roads at hinahaul po siya everyday kapag puno na. Ang mga eskinita naman po ay ginagamitan ng push carts. Next slide, please. So we have special hauling operations. Kami po mismo ang kumokolekta with gamit po ang open dump truck, garden waste, fire debris, typhoon debris, at construction debris na naiiwanan po sa main roads at secondary roads. Next slide, please. Meron po tayong temporary transfer station kung saan nilalagak temporarily ang ating basura prior to pagdala natin sa final disposal site. Ito po ay located sa C5 Extension, Barangay La Huerta. Next slide, please. Ang ating final disposal site ay sa Rizal Provincial Sanitary Landfill and New San Mateo Sanitary Landfill. Next slide, please. Meron po tayong apprehensions na ating Bantay Kalikasan. Ito po ay deputized Bantay Kalikasan or Environmental Police. So we give reprimand. We issue EVR or Environmental Violation Receipts o ticket sa individual, sa establishment, at nagkakaroon din po ang individual ng community service kapag hindi po nila nakakayanang magbayad sa mga penalties po ng environmental ordinances. Next slide, please. Ang city po ay merong City Materials Recovery Facility. Ang functions po nito ay Waste Recovery Center, Centralized Composting Center, Research and Development Center, at Livelihood Training Center. Next slide, please. Ang City MRF po ay may iba't ibang equipment. So we have 500 kilogram capacity bioreactor, plastic shredder, densifier, concrete mixer, CHB machine maker, sachet shredder, at extruder. Next slide, please. Ang Parañaque City din po ay pinalad maging recipient po ng plastic share factory equipment galing po sa Department of Environment and Natural Resources. At ito po ay ongoing po kami ng training ngayon para makagawa po ng school shares para sa ating mga public schools. Next slide, please. Meron din pong production of eco bricks. Ang component po nito o raw material, isa sa raw material po nito ay soft plastic sachets. Next slide, please. Nag-launch din po ang Parañaque City ng Zero Plastic sa Landfill Project na kung saan kami ay nakipag-partner sa iba't ibang neighborhood associations, household associations, at iba't ibang establishments katulad ng Shopee Express at City of Dreams. Kami po ang kumakolekta ng kanilang recyclable waste at mga soft sachet plastics. Next slide, please. Ang aming Community Relation Information Division, ang Information Division Team, sila po ang gumagawa ngayon ng mga livelihood products, they make products out of recyclables po. Ang online platform po nila ngayon, ang social media, kung saan nagtuturo po sila ng paggawa ng mga products katulad ng bags, pouches, sleepers, curtains, lampshades, at iba pa po. Next slide, please. Ito po ay for sale. Meron po kaming stall sa Parañaque Public Market. Ito po ay nakadisplay doon upang makita at pwede rin pong bilhin. Isa po itong parte ng livelihood program ng SENRO. Next slide, please. Continuously po ang aming Information, Education, and Communication campaign. Ito pong February 2021, IEC po kami sa offices para sa proper waste management. Next slide. Pati rin po ang public schools ay regular naming pinupuntahan para makita at mga programa po nila tungkol sa proper waste segregation. Next slide, please. So ito po yung isa na nilaunch po na project ng SENRO at ng Parañaque City. Order ni Mrs. No, inaanayahan ng mga Mrs. ang mga ina ng tahanan para sa kaayusan at kalinisan ayon sa RA 9003. Pero ang ibig sabihin din po, isang ibig sabihin ng MRS ay Materials Recovery System. No, yun po. Para po ito sa proper waste segregation. Next slide. So bago pa po ang pandemya, kami po ay regular na nagkakaroon ng IEC campaign para sa komunidad. So binababa po namin ang environmental ordinances, ang proper waste management, ang RA 9003 sa komunidad, sa subdivision, sa mission areas, sa iba't ibang komunidad. Next slide, please. So sa out of 16 barangays po ng Parañaque City, 7 barangays po ang merong sarili nilang materials recovery facility. Meron na po mismong structure. 7 naman po ay may memorandum of agreement with junk shops. At 2 naman po doon ay kinikater ng City Materials Recovery Facility. Next slide, please. So ito po, active po ang aming social media, ang SENRO social media para sa lahat ng daily operations po na ginagawa ng SENRO at iba't iba pa pong public information po dito ay namin sinishare. So next slide po. Meron din po regular na newspaper publication ang ating city para maipakita po isang section po doon lagi ay environmental programs po. Next slide, please. So ito po yung ating Ordinance 18-40. An ordinance regulating the use, provision, and sale of styrofoam plastic bags and plastic for prepared food and beverage containers, including plastic straws and steers in the city of Parañaque and prescribing penalties thereof. Approved po ito noong November 2018 at ang IRR po niya ay approved naman po noong November 2019. So dahil lang po sa pandemya, medyo natagalan po ng implementasyon pero ngayon po ay currently ongoing po ang aming saturation information drive. Next slide, please. Yan po ang ating Plastic Regulatory Task Force. Nag-iiwan po kami sa bawat concerned establishments po ng infographic materials, leaflets. Kami po ay nakikipag-usap sa kanila, ibinababa po namin ito para pagdating po ng enforcement ay hindi na po nila, alam na po nila. Next slide, please. Ito po yung sample na infographic materials po na ibinababa natin sa establishment. So, nakalagay po dito ang accepted, not accepted, at exemptions. Next slide, please. Isa po ito din sa aming infographic materials. No to single-use plastics, bring your own bag. So, naka-illustrate na po dito kung ano po talaga yung mga pwede at hindi po pwede at po yung penalties kapag tayo po ay nag-enforce na po. Next slide, please. Yan, iba't ibang programa po ng SENRO, ng City Government of Parañaque. Meron po tayong coastal cleanup dahil isa po kami sa part ng Napapatsaya o Las Piñas Parañaque Critical Habitat and Ecotourism Area or LPPWP na po ngayon. Las Piñas Parañaque Wetland Park. So yan po. Regular po kami may coastal cleanup doon. Next slide please. Regular din po tayong may creek or estero cleanup dahil kami nga po ay traverse ng 18 water bodies po. So may dedicated team po tayo para maglinis po manually. Next slide please. May waterways cleanup din po gamit ang trash boat. Ito po ay donated din ng DNR. So gamit po namin yan sa mga navigable waterways po. Next slide. Meron din po tayong manual declogging operation ng mga nililinis po natin ng mga drainage system ng City of Parañaque. Next slide please. Meron din pong declogging operation. Gamit naman po yung vacuum tractor o vector truck po. Kung saan po equipment na po naghihigop or sinisipsip po ng mga debris na nasa loob po ng drainages. Next slide po. And of course, meron din po tayong regular na tree planting and urban gardening project sa entire city po ng Parañaque, sa mga open spaces, at saka po sa Center Island, at saka po sa sidewalk. So next slide po.
Thank you very much, Engineer. How
Yun lang po.
inspiring.
Thank you
Everything
very
that you're
much po. Thank you very much.
Napaka-inspiring, no? I would imagine walking around Parañaque, magkakaroon na kaagad ng feeling ang mga tao na may impact lahat ng ginagawa nyo. Gusto ko malaman, anong nagbunsod nito? What do you think was the main driver of all of these initiatives? I understand, di ba sa Sun Valley may matagal nang nagsimula? Nakatulong ba yun kung paano kayo nakaarangkada dito?
Yes po ma'am, yung sa Sun Valley po, ang pioneer po nun ay ang dating kapitan si Mr. Bert Guevara. So siya po, napakagaling po niya sa waste management, especially po sa composting. So yun po, ang Parañaque ay isa po sa top priority po na aming mayor nung pumasok po siya ng 2013, ang environmental programs ng city, kung saan dahil po sa transition, nagpalit po tayo ng sistema ng waste management po. Talaga pong tinutukan ng kalinisan at kaayusan po ng environment, lalong-lalo na po sa basura.
Thank you, Engineer. Ako, interesado ako dun sa ginagastos nyo, yung budget nyo para dun sa pagdadump, yung residual waste para sa Rizal and San Mateo. Napansin nyo bang bumaba yung gastos nyo nung nag-single waste plastic ban kayo? Tapos
yes,
tumaas
po,
ulit nitong pandemic? May ganyan bang observation?
Yes po, ma'am. Actually po, bumaba po yung itinatapon sa sanitary landfill, yung residual waste. Yun po yung una naming impact na nakita. Dahil mas nadadivert na po sa aming City Materials Recovery Facility, sa kanya-kanyang barangay MRF. Tapos may sarili na po kaming collection ng residual waste at saka ng recyclable waste, katulad ng Zero Plastic sa Landfill Project. So malaki po yung nakabawasan na itinatapon po.
Do you
Sa
have
sanitary
any idea
landfill.
kung umaabot yan ng milyon ang natipid nyo sa tipping fees and the hauling cost?
I think
milyon?
so po, ma'am. Opo. Yes.
Lampas ng milyon.
Opo.
Biro nyo yan? Lampas ng milyon? Sus Mariosep. Sige, go ahead. May pinapaliwanag ka pa dun sa budget. How about this pandemic? Tumaas uli?
Ngayon po tumaas po ulit yung paggamit po ng mga disposable plastics dahil po sa pag-order. Ngayon po, currently ay nasa saturation drive pa lang po kami. Wala pa po kami ipinapataw na penalty. So, sa ngayon po ay puro information drive po kami hanggang matapos po ang September this year. Mag-uumpisa po sana kami mag-enforce fourth quarter this year po, October.
Okay, good luck to you, and I really hope you don't have to spend so much money on hauling and tipping fees, because really, that's really money out the
Yes, po,
garbage, down the drain, no? Literally, no?
Yes po.
If we're not recycling, if we're not reducing, if we're not reusing, we're throwing it all away.
Yes po, ma'am.
May I ask now the second speaker, Mr. Vincent Alon of the Muntinlupa LGU. Magkatabi kayo. Dapat yung buong area na yan, wala nang pumapasok sa Laguna Lake. Mr. Alon, can you
Yes,
give us your
ma'am.
presentation now?
Yes. Thank you, Attorney Ipat. Good morning po sa lahat. Isang magandang mga kaligasang umaga to Deputy Speaker Senator Loren Legarda. Thank you very much for inviting me. So, i-discuss ko lang yung tungkol sa Muntinlupa, yung policy ng Muntinlupa and other activities and projects when it comes to single-use plastic. So this is Muntinlupa Solid Waste Management Program. Same as sa Parañaque, we have different activities and programs in different composition of waste, like biodegradable, recyclable, and hazardous waste. But this is much focus in the policy, the city ordinance of Muntinlupa. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. So it was started nung natamaan ng undoy ang 10,000 families sa Muntinlupa na namubog sa baha noong 2009, no? So nakita namin dito na totoong ang epekto ng climate change doon sa mga extreme weathers na ito, So convinced that ondoy signaled a new normal, climatic new normal. So makikita natin dito na dapat pag-isipan na natin, baka ito maulit-uli, So the city government initiated a study para malaman namin kung ano yung factors that can affect dun sa pagbaha na ito at pag-clog ng mga canals nito. Nakita namin dito is yung mga single-use plastic. So aside from the natural factors like topography and location, pinaka-importante dito, nakita namin dito yung contribution ng plastic waste sa pag-clog at pagbabara ng mga kanal na nakaka-prevent ng flow nito towards dun sa ating catch basin. So that's why Muntinlupa through City Council nag-pass ng City Ordinance noong January 18, 2010. So otherwise known as the Bring Your Own Bag Ordinance, or most of the bali ito ang nagbigay sa amin dito, nagbinigyan namin ng moratorium ang lahat ng business establishment kasi sila yung liable sa batas. So next slide, please. So ito na yung City Ordinance na pinasa noong January 18, 2010, Next slide, please. Ito na yung umpisa sa mahirap na trabaho namin. So we need to think kung paano namin mauumpisahan yung moratorium stage na ito, So we started conducting survey kung gaano bang karaming plastic na basura sa lahat ng plastic na pinoprovide ng mga business establishment sa Muntinlupa. So along the way na pinukuha namin yung baseline data, unti-unti kami nagtatanong kung ano yung mga concern nila kapag binawas or pinagbawal yung plastic sa mga dry goods at isang primary packaging lang ang allowed sa wet goods. So yun yung mga pinag-aralan namin. So nag-strategize kami, nakita namin na kailangan nating tutukan ang business establishment. Kasi ang business establishment, sila yung makakatulong sa mga consumer to convince them to bring their own bag kasi wala na tayong unlimited supply na plastic kapag in-implement o in strict enforcement of the said ordinance. So we started posting posters doon sa mga strategic areas, karamihan dito doon sa mga counters, sa mga entrance sa mga malls, and then dialogue and orientation with different business establishment kasi iba-iba yung nature of business ito. Meron dry goods, meron wet goods, meron other RTWs and everything. So kailangan natin bigyan ng focus. So ang ginawa namin dito is door-to-door ang approach namin. Isa-isa namin silang pinupuntahan. Around 12,000 business establishment that was in 2010. So ito na yung survey na ginagawa namin. Isa-isa namin, we focus on the big provider ng plastic, like markets, convenience store, malls, supermarkets, yan. Yan yung una, and then fast food chains. So yan yung binigyan namin ng focus. Next slide, please. So ito, kinakausap namin sila. So kailangan naming magbigay ng mga correct information sa kanila para hindi sila ma-confuse, no? Kasi iba yung sa dry goods, iba yung sa wet goods. So kailangan nilang malaman kung ano yung mga alternative packaging. So most of them are thinking na the major packaging system alternative for plastic is paper. So parang ganun lang. Pero in-explain namin sa kanila ito. Next slide, please. So ito yon. So explanation through this picture, naggawa kami ng isang showroom. Kinukuha namin yung mga alternative packaging materials nila na po pwedeng ipalit sa plastic kapag in-enforce na ito. This is still on the moratorium period. Makikita nila yun dyan, so pwede nilang gayahin. Pwede nilang makita, for example, pareho silang karinderya o pareho silang takeouts. So makikita nila dyan kung ano yung po pwede o fit doon sa kanilang business para hindi sila mag-violate. So iyan yung mga samples ng mga packaging materials na dinala ng different business establishment sa Muntinlupa. Next slide, please. So ito yung different sample na inumpisahan namin before para makita nila na kung ano yung pwedeng innovations and so some others malls naggawa sila ng mga personalized nila para na naman mobile advertisement yun habang namamalengke or habang namimili sila. So naging positive din naman para sa kanila yung impact ng natin ng reusable bag na ito. Next slide, please. So ito na yung launching and implementation of the city ordinance. So during the implementation, para maging aware yung mga consumers kasi hindi naman sila ang magiging o mabibigyan ng violation or hindi naman sila yung mahuhuli. So kailangan tulungan pa rin namin ng business establishment. So nagbigay kami ng pre-reusable bag during the kick-off of the said implementation. So nakita namin yung mga tao na nagiging aware as part of information drive, awareness to the public, especially the consumer, na malaman nila na kailangan din nilang tumulong dito sa sinasabing ordinansa na ito. Next slide, please. So as a result, ito na yon. Ito yung nakakatuwang part ng implementation namin. Yung initiative na ginagawa ng mostly dito yon sa mga sa market. Sila yung nagko-call ng attention ng mga consumers to bring their own bag. Kasi mabibigyan sila ng penalty na 500 pesos na naka-indicate dyan ng first offense, magmumulta sila because of the implementation of the said ordinance. So here comes the consumer na nako-convince naman nila. I-set aside muna natin yung customer is always right now when it comes to providing plastic to the consumer. So ang isa rin advice namin sa kanila is for them to let that reusable bag always available in your store. Para pag wala silang dala, pwede silang bumili, additional income for you. So less na yung expenses mo dun sa pagbili mo ng packaging materials like plastic na yan, additional income pa for getting paid dun sa mga reusable bag na ibebenta mo sa mga customers mo. Next slide, please. Isa rin itong factor kung bakit na sinasabi ko nakakatuwa dahil karamihan ng mga mamimili based on our survey on 2012, nakita namin na around 68% ang nagdadala ng reusable bag o eco bag during marketplace. Yung iba nakalagay na sa bag nila, so kinukuha namin ito. So bilang pagsunod sa ordinansa, kahit hindi naman sila yung liable dito, binibigyan namin sila ng incentive also to help the business establishment na hindi na rin mag-violate. So that was during Earth Day celebration in 2016, 2018. So kung ano man may environmental activities, iniisipan namin ito kung ano yung pwedeng makatulong sa business establishment to maintain yung pag-comply nila sa ordinansa. Next slide, please. So as a result, this is the critical stage ng ordinansa. Makikita natin dito na nung inimplement namin siya, yung first day, siyempre yung iba, hihintayin muna nila kung totoo yung enforcement. So makikita dito na decreasing on decreasing ang graph from January since the start ng implementation until February. So mabilis yung kilos ng mga tao towards the compliance. So hindi kami masyadong nahirapan. But on the second year, parang nakita namin na medyo tumaas na, akala nila hindi na raw i-implement ang ordinansa kasi isang taon na. Parang ganon. Hindi nila naintindihan moratorium lang yung isang taon. So pumunta na naman kami doon sa ibang mga business establishments and then continuous yung monitoring namin. So nakita namin na maintain namin to until now na medyo konti na lang yung mga violators. Next slide, please. So comparative data of the waste analysis of Muntinlupa prior dun sa implementation ng ordinansa, we have 29.3% of plastic composition of plastic in Muntinlupa in 2010. Next slide, please. Now, in 2019, this is the latest waste analysis we conducted. Makikita natin 25.7% pa lang yung plastic natin. But still, nakikita natin na tumaas yung value ng papel. Yun nga kasi ang punto nila. The major packaging system alternative for plastic is paper. So naglagay kami ng bring your own bag and save trees. And then we have a program of recovering waste paper in different offices in the city, and then encourage young shop to buy all paper waste, katulad ng mga cartons na nililidispose ng mga household. Kasi sa supermarket, ang cartons, ginagamit nila lang packaging materials na. Sa household na yan, ang pinaka-endpoint ito going to junk shops. Next slide, please. Yun nga, ang nakakatuwa dito, makikita mo yung behavioral change, yung effect ng behavioral change campaign namin. Na makikita mo na siya na sanay na sila na magdala ng reusable bag, sanay na sila na kapag mamamalengke sila or even hindi sila pupunta sa market, naka-ready na yun sa bag ng mga residente ng Muntinlupa. So yun yung pinakamaganda dito, yung pagsunod at pagtulong nila, yung cooperation ng bawat sector o stakeholders. Yun yung pinaka-importante. Nakita namin, kaya kami napangiti o sinasabi kong mahirap at masayang parte ng implementation ng BYOB. Next slide, please. Pero hindi pa rin tayo dapat tumigil. Kailangan continuous pa rin yung pagbibigay natin ng information with them, na continuous pa rin yung enforcement. So every year, every renewal ng business permit, nagbibigay na kami ng posters sa lahat ng mga nagre-renew, business establishment na nagre-renew sa Business Permit and Licensing Office. So part na rin kami ng renewal. Meron isang kaming table doon, binibigyan namin sila ng mga posters. And then, next slide please. Nagbibigay din kami ng mga posters doon sa mga malls na hindi pa nakakapag-post ng posters na yan. So reminding them that city ordinance, this is still alive, and marami pa rin kaming nakikita na mga violations, at may mga tawag din sa amin na merong gumagamit ng mga plastic sa dry section. So continuous pa rin yung aming implementation. Right? This is slide, I think, meron kami 67 violation from January to December 2019. Ano? So continuous pa rin yung enforcement natin. Next slide, please. Continuous pa rin yung information drive. This was two different modes in Muntinlupa. So different yung batch na yan. Merong batch ng dry section, next batch is wet section. So hindi namin pwedeng pagsamahin, makukonfuse yung mga tao kasi sabihin pwedeng single-use plastic, pumayag, meron doon dry section. Akala nila pwede yung gamitin ng single-use plastic sa kanila. So yun yung kailangan namin i-separate o segregate dapat yung information based on their nature of business. Next slide, please. Yan po rin. Ginamit din namin ng isang cinema sa isang mall dito just to inform them about the ordinance and explain to them kung ano yung allowed sa batas. Next slide, please. And then, hindi tayo titigil kasi hindi lang naman yung ordinansa ang makakaawat o makakapagbawas ng basura na single-use plastic. Meron pa rin porsyento na hindi covered ng batas. That's why we come out with the think before you flick. A container, wrapper sa container na dinidistribute namin sa mga offices dito sa Muntinlupa. So ito yung mga single-use candy wrappers, coffee wrappers, junk food wrappers, and everything. So next slide, please. Ito yung sinusubukan namin gawa ng paraan kung paano ito ma-recycle. Like Attorney Ipat yung sinasabi nga, going to zero waste. Sinubukan namin ito, nilagay namin sa unan, ginagawa namin bag, sineshred manually shredding, pero ngayon may shredder na kami nito. Even yung tarpaulins, next slide please. Even yung tarpaulins, this is election para Pernalias, makikita nyo si Congressman Biaso, si Mayor Festedi at si Vice Mayor Simunda. So ginagawa namin ng paraan, tuwan-tuwa sila dyan. Ginawa nilang giveaway ito sa mga bisita sa Muntinlupa. Natutuwa sila. Bakit may mukha ni Mayor, but pagtingin nila tarpaulin, tuwa sila. So this is part of the initiative of Muntinlupa kasi meron kaming 3 mananahi dito na ginagawa. Even yung mga sako ng mga relief goods na binibigay natin sa pang-ayuda, ginagawa po naming reusable sack bag para po to continue in promoting Bring Your Own Bag. One thing more is itong habit ng mga aming street sweepers na every payday, nagdadala sila ng residual waste. Ito yung same as doon sa Think Before You Flip program. Nagdadala sila ng residual waste every payday. Next slide, please. Ayan, kabalikat sa kalinisan din yan, mga street sweepers namin. Next. Dahil ito yung aming nakuhang kaibigan o partner. This is Pure Ocean. As a non-government organization headed by CEO Ms. Pia Ocampo that works with coastal communities on sustainable solution against marine plastic. So, sabi nga nila, sira ang programa mo kapag walang endpoint ang basurang iniipon mo. So this is the endpoint of the basura o single-use plastic na tinutukoy namin yung mga candy wrappers na yan. Next slide, please. So starting January of 2019 to December, biro mo nakakolekta kami ng 8,292 kilogram or equivalent to 166.2 cubic meter. Imagine mo ilang hektarya na yung mako-cover niyan sa katubigan kung hindi yan na-retrieve. So thank you very much for Pure Oceans for being our endpoint dito sa programa namin. Next slide, please. Hindi pa rin kami tumitigil. Naghahanap pa rin kami ng kapartner para dumami man yung makukolekta namin residual waste, marami rin kaming matatakbuhan. Like this is Nestle Philippines, nag-dry run kami. That was 2019 then. Nakakolekta kami ng 640 kilograms or equivalent to 18 cubic meters. Next slide, please. This is the initiative ng Barangay Poblasyon headed by Kapitan Allen Ampaya. This is the plastic bricks using bali ito ginagawa nila ito yung programa na to giving incentives to those selected communities in Barangay Poblasyon. Nagbibigay sila ng incentive, may passbook ito, then single-use plastic ang kinokolekta nila to convert it into plastic bricks. So mamaya explain ko po ulit yung ibang mga kung may questions kayo tungkol dito. This is the initiative of Barangay Poblasyon. Thank you. Next. Ito na naman. We have another partner, the PLAF, the Plastic Flamingo. This was recently, this is the celebration of Earth Day celebration in 2021. So ito yung huli naming collection na ginawa. I think mga 2 tons ang nakuha nila dyan. 2,000 kilograms of plastic. So sila yung mga kaibigan namin sa ngayon, sila yung kasama namin sa Solid Waste Management Board na naka-station dito sa Muntinlupa, yung isang warehouse nila. That's why during the inspection, nakilala namin sila. So what a coincidence na meron pa rin kaming partner na pupuntahan ng mga residual waste na ito. Next slide, please. And soon, to operate, same as in Parañaque, the plastic chair factory. Using ang raw mat nito is si residual waste din kaya ng mga plastic sachet. Next slide, please. So thank you very much po. Sana may matutunan at sana may manapulot kayong kaalaman sa aming kwento. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vincent. That's very inspiring as well. And dahil magkatabi kayo, parang pag namasyal talaga sa Southern Manila, kikita na natin yung kaibahan, ano? And I'm sure isn't there also a drop-off site for green ants in the South? I think in the
hinahanap, inuhuli pa ho namin si green ants. Pero
ayan, nandyan. He's on the Zoom right now.
Malapit na po.
I'd like to ask the same question I asked the engineer earlier.
Yes.
Yung observation nyo ng pagbagsak ng ginagastos ng Muntinlupa sa tipping and hauling, would you also say nakatipid kayo in the millions dahil hindi na umaabot yung halimbawa yung na-divert nyo na plastic waste?
Yes, on the first year of implementation, bumaba talaga ng 7.33 tons per day yung yung daily generation ng basura natin, Pero ang contract is package cleanup eh. Yung package cleanup, kung ano yung kontrata, and then the second year naman nung implementation, makikita mo naman na mag-increase naman din siya. Kasi yung paper is much mabigat and much dense ito compared to kasi yun yung thinking na major packaging system for alternative for plastic is paper. So yun yung nilalaro namin ngayon going to recovery naman. Kaya naglagay kami ng poster na bring your own bag and save trees.
Yes, I heard you say that earlier. But my question also is, the pie charts might not really tell the whole story because in fact, baka mas maganda pa na mataas yung recyclable part or yung pie chart ba
Yes,
na yun yung residual nyo na? Ibig
Yeah,
sabihin, 41% pa rin kailangan talagang i-divert, correct?
Yes. Pero dun sa plastic composition, may breakdown ito eh. So from 2010, around 12% yung residual waste, yung LDPE in particular. Ito yung mga sandbags and plastic labo. So right now, around 5.5% na lang siya.
Bumagsak. Wow,
Yes,
kahit na with increased population and with the pandemic?
Yes. Itong pandemic, that was ang latest namin is 2019. We're trying to study pa rin about dun sa pag-account itong mga face mask. In particular muna kami for face mask. That's why we have a program na Ligtas 5K program. 5K means kalinisan, kaayusan para sa kaligtasan ng kalusugan at kalikasan. It's still all same as container pa rin ito na doon sinusulot yung mga used face mask na doon. Then may instruction doon na laging sanitize bago namin kinokolekta for safety. Yan po.
Parang katipunan, dinagdagan ng 2K, ano?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Alon. Let's hear now from Green Ants and see how we can synergize these initiatives in the south of Metro Manila. And sana nakikinig yung mga zero waste advocates dyan, yung mga nasa Buhay Zero Waste page, at saka yung mga Composting Revolution pages ng Facebook, para malaman natin paano natin isi-synergize. Because I think we really have to get out of being the fringe. No? We need to be the mainstream, the ones that are doing the mainstream rather than yung mga weird na nagsi-zero waste tapos nagagalit yung nanay kasi hindi na niya nagawa yung makasanayan niya. May ganun kasi kaming nakikita na accounts yung nagsi-zero waste yung anak tapos yung nanay niya parang nagagalit. We need to solve those generational issues because we are really swimming in these wastes if we don't really make a great move away from them. May we hear from Sar, please?
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to present it. I'm very happy to present the solution by Green Ants. We're a modest operation that started here from the Philippines and might be soon adopted as the standard for developing countries across the world with the help of the UN. So starting with what we're doing, we're focusing on enabling circular economy in the Philippines. Circular economy, meaning to say we're developing an entire ecosystem that treats not only the end of the waste, but developing or designing things in a way that keeps on circulating rather than just looking at the end of life. Can you, next slide, please? So the name Green Ants come from the small ants that are actually building their houses from green materials, because our main focus was on the collaboration and on the innovation. One of the main reasons that we were able to come up with our different products and our different modality is the focus on those two elements, on the focus on constantly innovating and coming up with new solutions, and working strongly on collaboration between all the elements, between the communities, the industries, between the different elements that they work, including the ones that actually produce and make or generate the waste. Next slide. So part of the uniqueness of the way we approach it is the unique business model that we are dealing with the concept of working within a circular economy that receives the waste, process it, and from the beginning, we're working with partner companies that are already ready to offtake it. So the ones who generate the waste, typically the FMCGs, the fast-moving goods producers, bring it to us in large scale, typically already clean, already separated, and this is part of their Extended Manufacturing Act or Responsibility Act. They bring it over. Our community centers or EcoHub process it, and already ahead we have commitment from local developers and local off-takers that are ready to take it and utilize it in different applications. We follow this up with technological solution, with a digital platform that is able to show the different clients where their waste actually is going to, where did it come from. Next slide, please. So this is just a sample chart. Typically what's happening with waste is with waste plastic starts at the upper left corners with monomers and polymer. They're being made into products and they end up into waste. What we do is we take the waste, we bring it over, we process it, come up with new materials, the different construction materials that we produce with energy depending on the scale and size, and then it moves back to the community where the community uses it as a resource. We uses it as a way to generate barter, as a way to encourage refuse and reduction, and back into the recycle and back into the cycle again that goes circularly rather and preventing it from ever reaching the landfill. Next slide. So those are some of our partners of the main groups that are our off-takers, the ones who come over and take this. Ayala Land leads them, but also several others, Habitats, Aboitis, and so on, which takes over our products, and some of our groups that supplies us in large scale in a way to prevent it from reaching the landfill and the environment, including Shell, which is a long-term partner with us, Colgate-Palmolive, that have a long-term multi-years agreement with us as they are going towards reaching carbon neutral, and so on and so forth. There are many other partners that are taking part in it. The cycle, as it's being shown, the materials turn into fuel or bricks, then they being used, turn into power, heat, or biogas, and then turn back and recycle back. So creating a circular way that prevents it from reaching the landfill. What is written on the top right is our aim to reach 90% disposal avoidance or avoiding waste plastic reaching the landfill. Next slide, please. These are some examples of some of our completed projects. Together with McDonald's, we built the two already green branches. This is the one, I think, in Sumulong that is made entirely from eco bricks. That is the brick there on the left. And together with Shell, we built the first Shell gas station that is built entirely from eco bricks. That one is in Bulacan. Both of those multinationals were so excited to see that this is possible that both their local management and their international management came over to see this because they would like to take this model and start implementing it in other locations across the world, mainly developing countries where this is such a huge problem. In every one of those bricks, we are able to recycle about 100 sachets, depending on the material itself. When it comes to Shell, when it comes to McDonald's, this was a collaboration with Shell, so a lot of it was hard plastic of containers of oil and so on coming from Shell. Next slide, please. This is another product. These are EcoCasts. They are ready to make, very similar in size to the hollow blocks, and they're used for different applications. We've built many structured, in this case, fences that you see, even though it stands outside and gets rain and all sorts of climate issues, it stands very strong. And on the left, we can see this is the commissary of Max, one of our additional long-term partners. They built their entire commissary, 4 floors, made out of our EcoCast. We're very proud to be able to help in this way. Next slide, please. And the most popular one, when it comes to our client, are actually the eco-pavers. The eco-pavers are the most widely adopted across large installations, mainly as actual roads or actual entries, places that also vehicles can drive and so on. As you can see, it has a unique design that they are interlocking. There's a male and female sides, and therefore, even over a long time, they do not change, even if the soil moves and so on. The main advantage is that it's pervious, meaning to say that the water seeps through and goes down and doesn't disturb, doesn't cause flooding, but takes it down. And therefore, it provides a solution for so many additional locations that rain comes here everywhere. Flooding is very common, and therefore it solves several problems in the same time. Next slide, please. That's another solution, similar. Those are pavers that are smooth, and grass create another one that allows grass and plants to grow through them with some of their example of applications. Next slide, please. This is another example. This is our collaboration with Tetra Pak. These are use of 100% plastics. Those are boards that are replacing granite tops. This is why we call them greenites. And they use countertops of different types in order to reduce the amount of raw material or virgin material that is required. Next slide. This is an overall example of one of our larger projects with USAID that is happening in Pasig City. And we're doing an entire project, including collecting the organic waste, including treating, of course, the plastic. There's a constant counter of how many tons have been diverted already. This project have just started, was supposed to start much earlier, but was delayed because of the pandemic, but it is ongoing. Next slide. These are some of our building blocks for progress. We're working on plastic recycling, on doing organic generation, on working on environmental and social sustainability. So we're working to uplift the local community. This is through the social franchise. Our model is unique that it is a distributed model. So different communities treat it rather than hauling all the plastics to some large centralized factory. We have a strong link with the industries. And our global agenda is such that we are working together with the Plastic Recycling Committee of the UN. We have connections with groups across Southeast Asia that are looking to adopt it, even requests from Africa and other locations, because the model that we were able to develop is relatively unique. Next slide. And these are some of the things that we're developing. There's actually a long list of a pipeline of what we're working on. There's a long list of construction materials, unique and new ones that we're developing, including printing of plastic solutions from 3D printers, including separate solutions for construction materials customized based on the requirements of clients. We're working on different types of plastic recycling, including plastic to energy, including utilizing of plastic in other ways. We're working on last mile logistics, bringing over solutions to the places where it's necessary, since there are so many communities around the country that simply don't have a solution. And the whole digital platform, to make sure the digital platform is one of the most important ones to allow for transparency. So people will see what is happening with their waste, where is it going, and it can really be auditable, since this is an important part of their actual sustainability report. And it's used as an actual way to verify the claims. Next slide. So this is an invitation to come and join our journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sar. That is really something. We've had Green Ants as a guest in Stories for a Better Normal, I think, previously, but you have I guess, a higher level viewpoint. And I'm so glad you're going to be international and that it started in the Philippines. My first question is, as you were presenting, I wanted to ask the question already, but the 90% target that you had, what is that exactly? Is that from a specific time, or is that per municipality, or are you saying is that for the country?
Well, of course, we are trying to implement it in the locations where we're already set up. Now, of course, our goal with time is to be able to have centers all over. But at least initially, in the locations where we're set up, our intention is to sit down on the actual channels where the waste arrive, and to make sure that as much of it will never go to the landfill. Now, to be clear, the solution that we're looking at is holistic. It's not just the waste. So first of all, we're working with the manufacturer themselves to try to reduce the amount of plastic they produce to begin with. And that's the beginning part, to prevent. And then later on, once they do, we're working with them to at least collect either their direct plastic or an equivalent, to remove it out of the environment, to bring it to us, and to find solutions that can address it. So that goal is definitely all across, as wherever we are able to install. We are very thankful that there are some strong financiers who are helping us to increase the capacity and go to other locations, including outside of the Philippines.
Wow, thank you. So the 90% is bounded by your area of work. So for
Yes.
example, a barangay or several barangays, is that correct?
Exactly.
And then you're saying that you work with the producers themselves. So this is kind of a privately led EPR, right?
It's in a way you can say an effect to the EPR, meaning to say, for example, in the Philippines, then when it comes to survey of the actual plastic waste that reaches the waterway, the environment, about 80% of it is contributed by about 20 companies, the large suspects, which are Nestle and Unilever and Coca-Cola, the regular suspects and so on. Now, they are the specific one that works with us as part of the EPR. They work with us and say, okay, we produce this volume of plastic. Some of it comes out after manufacturing. Some of it is being sold. Now, can you help us to remove this from the environment and take control of it? In the example that I've showed of Colgate-Palmolive, they would like to reach a net zero, as in the entire amount of waste they bring out, they recycle an exactly same amount. So for that, they have a clear auditing of how much waste plastic they produce, and they are constantly improving the amount of waste they bring to us, hoping to reach a balance point somewhere around 2025.
So they are the ones collecting,
yes,
not you.
They're there in collaboration with us. Some of them ask us to help in the collection process. Shell, for example, would like to turn as many of their gas stations as possible to collection points.
But not their own products, I guess.
Their own products as well. Their own products and other plastic, depending, each corporation have a slightly different style of designing the collection and the processing part. So in some of them, they would like us to actually be the partner collecting. In some of them, they collect and bring it to us.
That's great news, yes. Also the pervious pavers, it's very interesting, and I think it will really prevent a lot of flooding as we pave over so many of our areas for parking, no?
Right.
How many large areas have you actually, I mean, I'm interested in knowing the demand for these pervious pavers.
The demand is in the millions, meaning to say a group like Ayala will come and say they would like, because we have a strong engineering part, they would like to say, can you please produce it in a specific capacity that it can really carry cars and so on, weight bearing. And once they do, they commit, for example, for 5 years to buy about $1.5 million for their different application in the south. And so on. So depending on the developers, but the numbers and the commitments are definitely in the millions.
Wow, that's those are large. So you will always have a production deficit or kulang. Production will always be too little for the demand, I would suppose, because there's so much drainage that contractors have to deal with in their projects. I think the budget hearing is still ongoing, but I'd like to go to our next speaker, and I'd like to reassure everybody that Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda is actually monitoring us on the side, even though she is in the budget hearing. She's waiting for her turn to speak, and she's listening to us right now. And I'm sure her interventions later, when she gets to talk to you, will be really good interventions that will inspire you and inspire the audience even more, especially since she is the author of the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act 20 years ago now, and these are very good initiatives that demonstrate that that act is still very relevant. And if we only did it ahead of time, when it was initially passed, then we would not be in such a bad situation now regarding waste. And I'm very glad with all your partnerships with Corporation SAR, and I think there are other people with the same initiatives, plastic neutral operations for these. And I'm also thankful for you characterizing these as 20 companies and fast-moving, what was that? FM, fast-moving goods.
Right.
Yes.
FMCGs. Yes, it's fast-moving
Consumer.
goods. Yes,
Fast-moving
fast-moving
consumer goods.
goods.
I would like to have a list of those companies. Thank you again, Marilyn. We would like to have your presentation now, the Climate Reality Leader, National Cleanup Day Coalition Head. Marilyn, can we have your presentation?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Attorney Ipat. It's nice to see you. Slide, please. Okay. So, ito po yung history and mission ng National Cleanup Day Coalition. Please play po.
Development for Communities noong 2014. Nakagawa kami ng programa na National Cleanup Day and tinukma namin ito sa unang-unang mga international na mga cleanup gaya ng sa US na International Coastal Cleanup. So right now we're all over the country training people, communities para yung mga plastics pasok sa bote and gawing green spaces. Kung walang gagawa, sino? Kundi tayo. Kaya let's do it, Philippines.
Nice. That's it.
So, and we also promote yung mga upcycling.
Yes.
No? We also have programs on eco camps.
Sino-sino po ba ang ibang kapartners niyo rito?
O aside sa DNR, meron tayong mga partners, especially yung local government units. Sila yung mandated ng ating interior ng local government sa DILG na i-implement ang ating RA 9003, yung solid waste management.
Kailan mangyayari ito? Yung target.
Thank you po. Sir Dan, yes po, siya po yung national convener namin. No? National Cleanup Day Coalition started 2014 and started with the Let's Do It Philippines movement back in 2014. So the idea is to mobilize 5 million volunteers for a one-day national cleanup action for a clean, healthy, climate, resilient for one day, and zero waste communities. So ito po yung interview niya with Dingdong Dantes sa Amazing Earth. Next slide, please. So for 6 years, ito po yung mga programs and events na dinaluhan or ginawa ng aming coalition. So yung coalition is isang coalition ng cleanup groups, ng mga CSOs, local government units, government agencies all over the country, from sea to summit or reef to ridge, cleanup, prevention, and collaboration. Ito po yung equivalent or counterpart ng mga organizations like World Coastal Cleanup and International Coastal Cleanup and Ocean Conservancy kung saan pinopromote namin and we create awareness in taking action on issues with ocean garbage and waterways, as well as green programs and grassroots campaigns. Next, please. So, apart from cleanup, we also collect single-use plastics and ginagawa naming eco-bricks para hindi po siya talaga mapunta doon sa ocean natin. And then make it as green spaces kung saan pwede pang magamit into buildings and structures sa ating community. Next, please. Okay. So dahil pandemic po ngayon, what we did is we do the eco-brick challenge. So, ito po yung challenge na kung mga tao lang po sa bahay nila, doon po sila mag-eco-brick sa bahay nila using the waste they had in their homes or their community. Some of our chapters around the Philippines is do collect and nagpapa-donate ng mga plastics, and then from donation and collection, ginagawa pong eco bricks, and then donated it to us, back to us. Also from their homes, ni-encourage po namin yung ibang tao, and mostly teenagers and yung mga bored na sa bahay nila, ini-encourage namin to do zero waste projects in which i-create namin yung awareness about single-use plastics, and then make surprise out of it, and also to exercise na din yung creativity nila. Next slide, please. Okay. So, nangyari po ito nitong COVID, and we also partnered with the BJMP. Gumawa kami ng plastic bottle lamps para sa kanilang livelihood, and designed it, gusto nila, and then we sell it for fund, kasi yung organization is purely non-profit siya, and wala kaming fund, pero there are donations, and then gumagawa lang kami ng mga events wherein kahit walang fund and walang pera, kaya pa rin kasi nagtutulungan kami sa organization. And we also promote green backyard tree planting and green spaces and food gardens, kasi most of our plastic consumed is pagkain. And if we want to reduce and refuse plastics, most of it is nasa pagkain kasi. And so if i-eradicate lang natin ito if we have food at home na. So encourage everyone at their home to do the backyard planting, especially kung nasa cities, no, gumawa ng nilang mga in spaces and plant on indoor spaces, no, gamit yung mga plastic bottles and kung ano man yung meron sa kanila. Next, please. So dahil nasa pandemic tayo, most of our trainings are limited kasi kailangan po ng face-to-face. Pero this pandemic did not stop us, no? So we have online trainings and seminars with our mission, and then doon po kami nagtuturo na lang sa online seminars and trainings. We have seminars for zero waste living during the COVID pandemic, the Achieving a Zero Waste Lifestyle, and then International Youth Day, Transforming Food System, and then yung Eco Tabang Solar Lamp na nagawa namin online. And meron din on-site, pero with limited persons and attendees lang po. Slide, please. So we would like to thank our partners, and for 6 years, the mission, sila po yung mga kapartner namin na laging tumutulong sa amin with our mission, no? So si Seed4Com kasi is meron siyang apat na promotion niya. So promotion is for the environment, kaya meron kaming mga green projects and grassroots campaigns. Meron din sa energy, no, renewable energy, entrepreneurship. So after ng mga livelihood projects, the zero waste projects and zero waste campaigns, meron din kami to educate. So education is very important because if mga tao po na educate natin, so there will be lesser plastics na magagamit, and then more on people will work on together to fulfill goal and to move on to successful partnership with the community. So our education and our campaign is conducted it on Zero Waste Academy. And apart from our partners, the mission, the Department of Natural, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, the EMB, the ANR, the Commission Foundation for Asia, the Masters Farm. Masters Farm po is all natural and organic po yung tinatanim dito. No? Ginagamit po yung mga eco bricks, and we use the spaces for plants. No? Gumagawa kami ng mga organic na compost and mga fertilizers. And Plant for the Planet, the Food Garden Movement, the Collabox, local government units, the DANR, the DILG, the 7H, Permaculture Farm in Quezon City, the Xiaomi, Philippines, Sangguniang Kabataan, the JCA Cebuana, Department of Education, and many more. So with a span of 6 years, we are continuing our support to enhance and prevent and educate everyone with the use and disaster of using single-use plastic. Next slide, please. So right now, personal collection is our partner, and then they want us to make a solution on how they can remodel and change their packaging into refillable. So also we have partnered with a junk shop and waste pickers to make money out of this packaging. And then also we want a partner for them to substitute these plastics into paper-based packaging and solutions for less plastic, maybe an app or a machine collector in which they can easily monitor their waste and then have them pick it up, and then para for lesser plastic in production and waste. Companies, we also want companies be accountable for their waste. So we want to, we really hope that this bill be passed. No? We also expanded producers' responsibility. So if as producers and consumers do not be responsible with our waste, most of it will turn into waste. And we are fighting for waste reduction and waste refusal because this is our fight. No, all of this is our fight, and we are aiming to have zero waste Philippines in the future by 2030. No, the SDG goal. Next slide, please. So for us, we want to plug our campaign this coming September 18. So you can join us and have participate with us with the National Cleanup Day. So program will be Clean Up, Green Up. So for Clean Up, we want you to reuse, refuse, and reduce your recycle, repurpose, and rat your, or do the eco-breaking challenge. So make use of your time and exercise your responsibility through attending and joining our National Cleanup Day. And also Green Up, backyard and container gardening, fruits and native tree growing in the backyard community. So so after you reduce, refuse, reuse, replant all the plastic bottle and plant your food in garden or in your home. So you can join us by liking our Facebook pages. Clean your house or your surrounding, plant trees, vegetables in the yard, open spaces, do Eco Brick Challenge, attend the ongoing session, and we have ongoing and online sessions, so you can send us a message on our Facebook pages. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you very much. This just goes to show, without the fuel of money, you have the fuel of passion and can do so much with just your integrity and your commitment to this cause, to reduce waste and to do national cleanup days all over. Let's hope this really gets traction and everyone in the whole country joins National Cleanup Days, and not just on that day, but every day and every week. Maybe we can really have that culture of having national cleanups. I am very happy to tell you all that the Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda is already on the Zoom. She's just adjusting her video.
I know. Bago po itong aking lugar dahil nasa kabilang hearing po ako, babati lang, but Ipat, you're doing very well. I know that hindi papasa itong aking ginawang studio dito. Okay, I don't want to interrupt the conversation because it's been very, very interesting. And nagpapasalamat ako kay Engineer Maria Teresa Kyoge ng Parañaque City, ang ating Senro. I was in and out of the presentation, but I will watch it in full. I'd also like to thank Mr. Vincent Alon ng Muntinlupa City. I would like to thank Mr. Sar Herman of Green Ants Builders as well. At naabutan ko ang presentation ng Ms. Marilyn Giliena, ang ating National Cleanup Climate Reality Leader. Yes, alam ko, sabi ni Ipat, backlighting, hindi yan papasa sa telebisyon sa aking, ang ganda ng lighting ni Ipat. Can you please continue dahil ako'y nasa hearing ng DOE at Energy Regulatory Commission at Lagari ang tawag sa amin noon sa newsroom, no? I'm trying to, but I am listening. I'm just on mute. So thank you very much. National Clean Up Day, National Clean Up Month ngayon ay sana ma-implement natin ng gusto ang ating mga batas. Thank you so much. I'll have to leave again. Ipat, take care of all our guests for today. Thank you so much. And to all our viewers, pakibasa Ipat, as well as our giveaway for our starter kits for growing your own food. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We're so honored to still be getting your time, even though you are so busy in your congressional work. No, nasa budget mismo siya ngayon, and she's monitoring us, and she will watch this and get in touch with you again about your presentations in the coming weeks or months. We have viewers currently from so many places. We have. I'll just read it very quickly so that you will just know the extent of our coverage. Batangas, Mandaluyong, Makati, Antique, Laguna, Agusan del Norte, Parañaque, Cavite, Romblon, Pasig City, Zamboanga, Iloilo, Pampanga, Misamis Oriental, Negros Occidental, Dipolog, La Union, Navotas, Cagayan Valley, Cotabato, Cagayan de Oro, Bukidnon, Abra, Dagupan, Lucena, Kidapawan, General Santos City, at Davao del Sur. Marami pa sigurong hindi nagsabi kung ano ang pinanggagalingan nila habang nanonood sila ngayon. We're very lucky to be partners with the Department of Education so that we can really get this lesson through to our students. Marami dyan sa basura dyan sa mga eskwelahan ay chichirya. Marilyn, sa palagay mo may change of behavior na nangyari dun sa mga kabataan dyan sa inyong kampanya? May napansin ka ba dun sa mga kabataan na sumasali sa inyo? Kung paano nangyari yung kanilang conversion?
Thank you po. I am proud to announce na yung mga members ko po is all students. And most of them are students, and most of them are my family members. So I recruited them first kasi wala namang tutulong sa'yo and hindi masyado maganda yung campaign mo if hindi mo sila kasama yung family mo. And wala ding makakaintindi sa'yo kung hindi mo Yun nga yung sabi sa ano no sa Buhay Zero Waste na gusto niya mag zero waste pero yung ama niya, basa ko din yun. Ayaw niya kasi masyadong ang hirap mag zero waste. And most of my students are struggling with the zero waste, especially yung mga dalaga, yung mga teenagers. But all of them are struggling. They have perseverance to continue.
Marilyn, very inspiring kung paano mo na kumbinsi yung iyong sariling pamilya kasi tama ka, nandyan sa Buhay Zero Waste yung hinaing nung ating isang netizen doon na pilit na siya ng pilit at hirap na siya tapos hindi niya makumbinsi ang kanyang nanay at tatay. No? At maraming sumagot doon sa kanyang hinaing, doon sa ating thread na yon. At sana siguro buksan naman ng isip yung mga nanay at tatay, lalo na kung ang napapakita natin ay tunay na may pakinabang, no? Na nagiging bricks, nagiging nabebenta ng mga bag, nabebenta ng mga kung ano-ano pa doon sa mga ginawa ng mga munisipyo, no? Ay ng mga cities na nakausap natin ngayon. Babatiin natin yung iba na mga nasa FB, Arlene Esquiliona, Lovely Rain, Arnel Arnaiz Pios. Actually, napakarami nito, hindi na tayo matatapos. Pero may isang nag-post na sana po ma-promote ng husto ang paggawa at paggamit ng hollow blocks na yari sa recycled plastic at maging available din sana ito sa mga hardwares. Sir, do you think this can be commercially available in hardware stores?
Yes, no problem. It can be. We already have some partners who are taking it. There is, of course, a slight process of adapting because everyone are so used to the hollow blocks, and like everything else, when you move to a different type of bricks, it's slightly different, but yes, it can definitely be available.
I think the higher the demand, the more plastic you will need and the more plastic will be diverted. So I'd like to ask Vincent Alon and Engineer Kyoge, sa tingin niyo po ba pag nag-ordinance tayo in incentivizing these types of building materials, it will work? Kasi pag may disaster po, nagbibigay ng hollow blocks ang LGU. Ano kaya kung ganito lang ang hollow blocks na, I mean, not to have an ordinance that favors any specific supplier, but that the hollow blocks to be given away and that the building materials used by the LGUs will be made of recycled plastic. Ano po ang tingin niyo dyan, Mr. Alon and Engineer Kyogi?
Yes, Attorney Pat, right now, mayroong mga schools din na gumagamit at nagpapashred sa amin ang mga single-use plastic na generate na nila. No? Like in Muntinlupa Science High School, ginawa na itong plant box. So ito yung ginamit nila, yung 1 liter PET bottles. Isiniksik nila into eco brick, and then ito yung ginagawa na nila. So ang in-encourage namin dito yung as part ng incentive nila is yung free shredding ng kanilang mga naipong mga single-use plastic. So encourage different barangays then to go on with that system. Like in Barangay Bayana, nagpapashred sila rito, ginagawa nilang pillows, yung pinashred nila and stuff toys. So yun yung sa tingin ko na that's why we're promoting yung free shredding dito sa Muntinlupa to different barangays, some other livelihood programs dito na magkaroon ng kung may idea sila kung saan pwedeng magamit dito, feel free to go to the office para sa shredding ito.
Pwede bang hindi taga-riyan? Actually, may I ask engineer also kasi tingin ko malaki magagawa ng demand ng ganyan at mapupunta na yan sa hardware stores kapag yun mismong local governments for their own hollow block and other paver needs will be forced to buy in their purchasing, no? These products. Anong tingin nyo?
Yes po, actually po sa Parañaque, yung eco bricks po natin, gawa din ng green ants po yung
yung ginamit nyo.
Yung machine po na yun. At ginagamit namin po siya sa ngayon sa mga planters din po at plant boxes. At isusulong po sana namin sa Sangguniang Panglungsod next year na ang one-story na mga daycare centers, ang mga schools ay gamitin na ang mga eco-bricks.
Wow,
Ayan po.
Ordinance.
Kami
Sige,
po-
share niyo sa amin yung draft
Yes
niyan
po.
para makapag-share din kami sa ibang lugar na
Yes
i-adapt din yung ganyan. So thank you for that question, Mac Ken, MCK Ken. But there's another one to Green Ants. How's the quality of the eco pavers when it comes to weathering? Would it trigger microplastic leakage due to the possibility of weathering scenario? That's from Roderick Abache.
So thank you very much for the question. Leakages was one of the first issues that was brought up generally and specifically now that we are with talks with the UN about adopting this protocol around the world. Leakages was one of the first issues. Now, we have a unique composition that the plastic itself is combined with a biodegradable adhesive that bounds the plastic to the actual construction products, pavers, or bricks, or EcoCast, and so on. So what happens even in case of a breakdown of weathering or anything like this, we collect back the product, we shred it, and we put it back into use without the plastic going or leaking into the environment. Now, this process goes through several testing, including what's happening in case of fires, including what's happening in case of storms and strong weather. And so far in the different tests that have been done, even over years, there is no leakages or really very minimal. So it's done in relatively high international standard.
Thank you very much. I'd also like to greet kung saan-saan talaga nanonood ang mga tao. This is very inspiring mula sa Pangantukan, Bukidnon. Meron tayo sa Cotabato City, from the heart of BARM, Cagayan Valley, La Union, Negros Occidental, Dueña School District, Kahilsot School District. I hope we all really get inspiration from our guests today. So another thing siguro in the planning sa mga municipalities, dapat yung requirement nyo na ay pag nagpapa-approve ng building plans, basta pavers ay purviews, no? Para hindi na tayo kailangang mag-isip ng mga pagbaha dahil sa parking spaces na open. So I guess that wraps us up for today. We've had 2 hours of very interesting conversation. And thank you again for joining us, and DSL, Deputy Speaker Loren, for pagsilip po sa amin kahit na nandun kayo sa budget hearing. Please be reassured that she is on top of everything that went on here today, and that she will carry this through in the legislative work that she does, both as a representative on Antique now and hopefully in a national position in the next election. May we ask that each guest please give us a quick takeaway that we can carry with us and we can use in our continuing education for everybody for the zero waste journey. Let's start with the last one. Marilyn muna.
Okay, so for me and for us in our organization, let us not allow plastics to rule us, destroy us, and to kill us. Let us all unite and win this war against plastics.
Thank you, Marilyn. Mr. Herman, Sir, could you give us a few?
Since climate change is such an imminent and immediate danger to our well-being, it will be very helpful if we can put up as many resources to try to tackle it. Prevention of plastic and waste as part of prevention of the effects of climate change, and from there moving to also adaptation and mitigation. But definitely in a place like the Philippines, we need the entire system to understand the amount of threat that this represents and the amount of help needed here to work together.
Thank you, Sir. Vincent?
Yes, ma'am. Sa akin, same as sa experience namin doon sa plastic ordinance in implementing it, sa akin, yung mga programang para sa ikabubuti at ikaayos ng kalikasan, hindi na dapat natin itong pagtalunan. Pagkus, dapat natin itong pagtulungan. Yun po.
Maraming salamat, Vincent. Engineer Kyoge, Tere?
Yes po. Sa akin naman po, waste management is a shared responsibility. Ito po ay hindi responsibilidad lang ng gobyerno. Let us all be responsible sa sarili-sarili po nating waste. Ayun po.
Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. I leave this webinar inspired and I will report to Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda everything that you are doing again, even if she is also committed to watch this entire episode. We hope you will also keep following this webinar series every week on Thursdays at 10. And all of our Department of Education viewers today, thank you po. Sana may natutunan kayo at may bahagi nyo rin ito sa inyong mga estudyante sa mga susunod na araw sa online learning. Maraming salamat po ulit. Sa ngalan ni Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda, salamat po sa pagsali sa pagsulong natin patungo sa isang better normal.
Thank you very much po.
Thank you.
Thank you.
1998, tandang-tanda ko pa, nang magsimula ang aking political career na halal bilang freshman senator sa 11th Congress, rank number 1. Napasa akin ko ang mahigit sa kalahati ng total na national votes. Pinakabatang senator at isa sa 2 natatanging female senators noong panahon na yon. Ngunit ito'y hindi isang posisyon na inihain at ibinigay na lamang sa akin. Pinagpawisan at pinagpaguran ko ang karangalang ito. Mahabang sakripisyo at matagal kong pinaghandaan ang gawaing alam kong para sa akin. Simula pa man ay nais ko nang maglingkod, taus-puso kong hangad maging isang public servant, ang makamit at makapagdulot ng tunay at makabuluhang gawain. At noon pa man ay may mga usapin at issues na matimbang sa aking puso. Ako'y naglingkod bilang chairperson para sa mga komite ng Environment at Economic Affairs. Bago pa man ako umabot sa edad na 40, ako'y hinirang bilang isa sa mga Global Leaders for Tomorrow sa World Economic Forum sa Davos, Switzerland. Iginawa din sa akin ang United Nations Environment Program Award sa Turin, Italy noong 2001. Lahat ng ito habang ako'y patuloy na nagsusulong ng mga batas na layuning mangalaga sa karapatang pambabae at pangkabataan tulad ng Anti-Domestic Violence Act, Anti-Child Labor Law at ang Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act. Ako rin ang pangunahing nagsulong upang maging batas ang Ecological Solid Waste Management Act. Pagdating ng 2001, ako ay nahalal bilang Senate Majority Floor Leader, ang kauna-unahan at natatanging babaeng nagkamit ng posisyon na ito. Patuloy akong nagsikap bilang isang mambabatas at noong 2007 ay muling nakamit ang number 1 senator position. Napasa akin ang pinakamaraming boto at kinilala bilang bukod-tanging woman senator na nagkamit ng top position sa Senate race twice. Tuloy-tuloy sa paglilingkod, tuloy sa pagiging mambabatas at tuloy sa mas marami pang advokasya. At noong 14th Congress, ako'y namuno bilang chairperson ng mga sumusunod na komite. Ngunit walang patid at walang humpay ang aking gawain bilang mambabatas. Kaya't sa sumunod na 12 taon, patuloy akong naglingkod bilang senador sa 15th, 16th at 17th Congress ng Pilipinas. Kasabay pa rin ito ang aking pagsusulong sa mga advokasyang malapit sa aking puso. Patuloy akong namuno sa mga komite sa climate change, foreign relations, finance at cultural communities. Buong puso kong pinagmamalaki ang aking mga narating bilang isang mambabatas. Ngunit higit pa sa mga batas na aking sinulong, walang kapagurang pinapagpatuloy ko ang aking mga personal na advokasya. Noong 2009, pinamunuan ko ang matagumpay na pagsasabatas ng landmark Philippine Climate Change Act. At noong June ng taong yun, ako'y naghatid ng keynote speech sa Forum on the Human Impact of Climate Change sa Geneva. At patuloy akong nang hikayat na magsulong ng makabagong pananaw sa governance upang masagot ang lumalaking panganib sa climate disaster. Doon ay nilunsad ang aking Legarda Doctrine, isang bagong development thinking at holistic development philosophy ayon sa sustainable at equitable socio-economic ecosystems of governance. Pagdating ng Disyembre ng parehong taon, ako'y nagsalita tungkol sa climate change sa United Nations Climate Change Conference sa Copenhagen. At personal nang nag-udyok sa mga mambabatas ng mga ibang bansa na magsulong ng mga batas para tumugon sa mga climate change issues. Ako rin ay matagal nang nagsusulong sa pagpapanatili ng ating national identity at culture at ng ancestry ng mga indigenous peoples. Naigawad sa akin ang mga sumusunod na titulo mula sa iba't ibang katutubo at indigenous peoples groups. Ako rin ang pangunahing nagsulong sa pagbabalik ng bansa sa prestigious na Venice Biennale, ang Olympics ng contemporary art world, matapos ang 51 years na walang partisipasyon. Sa gitna ng mga ito ay patuloy ko pa rin pinananagutan ang aking hangaring maglingkod. Ang damdamin ko'y nag-uumapaw at taos-puso akong nagpapasalamat sa mga tumulong sa akin itong mga nakalipas na taon. Hinding-hindi ko malilimutan ang mga taong nagtiwala, nagsakripisyo, ako'y habang buhay na magpapasalamat. Ngunit mahigit pa sa lahat ng aking narating, hindi pa sa mga batas na isinulong at sa mga komite na pinamunuan, maging sa mga awards at mga parangal na iginawad sa akin. Ako'y buong pusong nagagalak sa tuwing maaalala sa isipan ang ngiti ng mga taong aking naabot. Ang mga kabataan, kababaihan, mga mag-anak at komunidad, mga katutubo, magsasaka, mangingisda, at ang mga minamaliit at hindi man lamang binibigyan ng halaga. Ang damdamin ko'y patuloy nilang naaantig. Sila'y nagbibigay halaga at kabuluhan sa lahat ng aking gawain. Patuloy akong nauudyok magsumikap at walang pagod ay pagpatuloy ang bukod tanging karangalang makapaglingkod. Ako po ang inyong abang lingkod, Loren Legarda.